So, welcome to this is going to be the third Articles of Secession episode. So, today I'm joined by. That's your key, Alex.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry. Yeah. I thought you were going to introduce me. Some gentleman.
No, you're a strong, independent man that don't need no
That's.
co-host.
I'm Alex from Crescent Edge Creative, and always a pleasure to hang out and chat with you, my dude.
Yeah. So basically, what happened was we were going to do a book club for part 3, and we spent. Well, Miles isn't here to be a lit major that can give us all the questions that he got asked on of Mice and Men, but Badab style. So instead, we thought we'd shoot the shit and do some just Badab hobby talk. So we're going to do that, and then just talk about anything, I suppose. And then at the end of the episode, we're going to go through the what hashtag is it, Alex?
Badab After Dark. Yeah, so we pulled up Badab After Dark because the horses got out of the barn so fast. We were just like, oh, let's just look this up. And then we cut and we were like, you know what? Let's just come back. So you're probably gonna be confused because our wardrobe changes like weirdly. So it's like the same in the beginning, in the end, but then like we change halfway through the middle.
Yeah.
But it's all choice.
Yeah.
I think folks will enjoy it.
So we will get into that now.
Anyways, Miles will be back later. And if you're in Montreal, you'll see him at the course, I'm sure, next weekend. Right on. So as always, our other joyous sponsor, Epic Basing. Make sure you check out Make It Epic on Instagram and epicbasing.com for all your STL needs if you've got a magic box at home. If you don't, he does sell physical prints as well. So you can do and get whatever you need to pump up, to elevate your basing, to raise the floor on your basing.
I purchased them through my work account through my work email, and I've been using them on landscape models as a professional thing.
Oh,
so
shit,
they
really?
are good enough. They pass. My very picky boss was very happy with the quality of the plants for the planting that we used on our models from Epic Basing. So there's one. My
Awesome.
incredibly picky boss.
Hell yeah. I shrunk it down and I smashed a bunch of the STLs together to make little tiny ruined buildings with like sandbag emplacements to put on my Titanicus bases. Nice. Yeah, so I think I dropped them down to 30%, which is a little bit bigger than if I actually took it from 28 mil to 8.
Yeah,
because that's 25%. But at the 30, you can see it a little bit better, which is fun. It's going to look very sharp. I'm very excited for them. Nice. I'm hoping I can bring those with me to Scandus because I'm not going to have enough. I don't think I'm going to have enough Badab ready for us to do anything. But maybe I will. I got 2 months. I only have to finish another 25 custodians.
Only another 25. It's all right. Just spray him Balthazar gold or whatever you spray custodies. Then give him a wash. Probably.
So the gold's all done. Because I did it in one fell swoop. So kind of an aside, I'm sure there was custodians somewhere in Badab watching something. Emperor's will, all that. But I managed to get my hands on 2 of the cans of the old Tester's black lacquer, like the gloss black lacquer in a spray can. So I base coated everything with this like gloss black lacquer, which is like crazy reflective. Yeah. And then I mixed up like my own gold paint to put through the airbrush and put that through. So it's like hyper reflective and looks like friggin' future metal. So it actually looks like auramite. So I'm contrasting it a little bit more by not weathering the auramite, but everything else on it kind of shows wear and tear. So I wet blended the blades so that way it actually looks like they've been passing through and stabbing through things. So they've got wear and tear, and then the leather's all worn up, and then the bases are all like heavily beat up.
Did you not find the airbrush like sort of spidered much more easily with a very gloss undercoat?
No. So the other thing I did was I lowered my PSI to about 15.
Right. Okay.
So like it came, and I went slow. And so it came out very gently, and it went on beautifully. It didn't spider out, it didn't pool. When I did it that way, it just came out like nice and smooth. So it looked uniform. Um, and then I just went in and did my shadows and stuff with. Actually, I think I just used Shyish Purple, like the purplish black contrast paint.
Mm.
Like just put that in the airbrush. I just put that where the shadows would be, and I did like a spray of Athonian camo shade just from the bottom, like a Nadian shadow of just that. So I've got like all these really like green sort of tones in it and purple tones. So it's a very cold gold at the same time. But yeah, it's sharp. I think you'll like it.
Yeah. So how far actually are you on with your, like, bringing this back to Badab? How far are you on with your Badab stuff up to now?
Yeah, so I got the Raptor about 90% of the
Mm.
way. I got the base totally done with like the epic basing stuff, and that I was surprised at how much fun actually I had painting that. Because I don't paint a lot of foliage. Like I don't get to do a lot of living things.
Yeah.
It's always like here's a robot, or here's a fucking guy that used to be a man but now he's 90% metal and there's no fleshy bits on him.
Yeah. Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know, like and so the one I particularly enjoyed doing was the fly trap, because
Mm.
I was like, oh, okay, like I can play with some magenta and some fuchsia and stuff into it and make it look very alive. So that part I really enjoyed, and I did a nice, or I think it was a nice color on the Raptor. But the more I painted it, the more I didn't like the model itself. Like I put one of those cool sort of like heavy respirator
Yeah.
Primaris helmets on it. And then as time went on, I hated that. And I wish they didn't do it.
So it didn't mature well. It didn't like sit on the palette well.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Like, and at the time I was like, this helmet's awesome. And it is a cool helmet. But then,
Mm.
the sort of historical aspect of me, like the historical future fake historical modeler, was like, this isn't right. Like I feel dirty.
Oh, Primaris helm, no. Well,
Yeah.
so I sort of
Like
went the other way of that. I did not get anything painted or completed, but I did actually go further back into time and printed out like Mark One Razorback parts for a Demios Rhino.
shit. No
So
way.
I've expanded my Badab force from what was a single model last time we spoke
Yeah.
into being now like a 1,500 points force. That
Yeah.
So I've gone completely
I'm
the opposite tack.
I'm gonna have to follow you, because I know that Badab After Dark will probably be more Kill Team-esque.
Mm.
But I was talking to Freddie the other day, and he's gonna get some physical copies made up of their final version of their Badab Codex.
Yes.
He's gonna bring some of those to Adepticon. Like, so now I'm like, okay, well, I'm gonna have to fit, like, I may not be able to bring Legion Imperialis with me, but I can maybe bring like a small Titanicus force and then 1,500 points of Badab Marines, especially if I get like a little Terminator heavy. So I'm tempted to switch over to Red Scorpions,
Nice.
because I have a bunch of Red Scorpion bits, like because I bought a couple packs of Severin Loth,
Yeah.
and his Honor Guard, because I wanted bits from them. So that I could work them into either Blood Angels or into, in some cases, actually Raven Guard. Like they have those eagle type axes.
Yes.
Oh, you know what? That actually might make really good. I might hang on to one or two of those for like my Vexilla holder
It's falling apart.
for my custodians. Yeah, no, but I've got tons of shoulder pads, and I've got tons of helmets, and I've got those two characters that they released for like the book that never came out, like Fires of Syraxis.
Yes.
And a guy here, actually, we have this old shop. It's like a weird store on one of our sort of like hip avenues, White Ave. and it's called White Knight, and they have tons of like old shit in there, and it's all kind of like commission, or he picks it up at yard sales and he resells it. I picked up 3 of the old school Tau stealth suits actually. So like I'm pumped to paint those up. I'm gonna do like a little Tau stealth kill team. But I went in there for the 90s Marine for the Darren Latham challenge. And so I've been working on that this month too. And I'm sure that derailed a lot of folks, but he had an actual Forge World version of Carib Cullen and Terminator armor.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's OOP. Like you can't get that anymore. So I'm like, oh shit. So I bought it anyways, and I'm like, I can convert that Praetor Tribune to be a pretty rad model. I don't have any of the new ones, unfortunately, like the new Terminators, which I'd love to get because they're friggin' chonky and huge. And then I think I'm either gonna convert out of some of the leftover resin Terminator legs, some true scale dudes, or I'm just gonna print. Like I'll scale up some of Wilf's stuff because like his Mark III is coming out here in a hurry. He's got one Mark IV.
Well, he's got some beautiful stuff across his range, hasn't he? That it just, and that's the beauty of printing. It can be done at any scale. Like some of my 1500 points is like ended up because of these fucking Mark 6s, man. The Mark 6s being slightly out of scale with everything else has just now forced the printing to begin.
Yeah,
because it's got to look right. The Mark 4s have got to look right. So
yeah, I'm in the same boat, man. I'm hoping he releases like an expanded Mark IV kit. Like right now, he's just got Malachi.
Well, it's that or
whatever
Tortuga, like doing something with them. Like I don't know whether the supply's sketchy because they're Ukrainian, but
I think their supply's okay. But for someone like me, literally on the other fucking side of the planet, their shit takes like a month to get to me.
Right.
Because there's a few dudes locally that are using the Tortuga based stuff for Badab, which is cool. Like it's starting to catch into some of the local groups that I haven't been super involved in lately, but I'm starting to see posts from them with hashtag Badab After Dark.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, and I'm like, shit. Like, yeah, one of them's doing Mantis Warriors. He's got like a Mantis Warriors Tartarus Terminator done up. Looks pretty sharp. And I'm like, shit, that looks good. There's another guy who's like just painting all of his little like legions. He's doing Primaris conversions.
Well, to the guy that is doing Mantis Warriors, I got the other day some Mantis Warriors decals from Impatience Decals, and this is not a sponsored thing. I paid for these, but they come out well nice, and they've got a nice matte finish to them. Impatience Decals, and I did not have to get impatient waiting for them. They arrived quite sharpish, so it's worth checking them out because obviously decals for Badab Legions are just long gone nowadays.
Yeah, and so that it's funny you say that because I had a buddy give me a bunch of Raptors decals. So maybe what I'll do, at least for the kill team side, is I'll do a couple of Raptors because in our conflict, like between the Mantis Warriors and the Raptors, there were red Scorpions with the Raptors on the planet. Because it was red Scorpions and Raptors, but primarily led by the Raptors. So I might do like my kill team sergeant or something is that dude with the bow.
Yeah.
And I'll just upscale something and maybe throw like, a Mark IV guy. Cause I've got like in the infiltrator kit that I've got, if I scale up the Mark IV kit a little bit, it'll look even better, but he's kind of like walking with the gun up and he's got like a smoke grenade that's already got smoke coming out of it.
Yeah.
He's
like tossing it to the side. It's like Spider-Manning it into the ground.
Yeah, exactly. So like putting that on a guy who's walking with like a bolter up would be like, cool guys don't look at explosions kind of thing.
Perfect. Yeah. 100%.
Yeah. And then, I can use the Mark VII, the Bertrand test model, scale him up a little bit, use him as like a red Scorpion. Because I've got a few Deathwatch kits or leftover bits of Deathwatch kits that I used in other conversions. And so they all have red Scorpion shoulder pads in them as well. So it's more like an issue of convenience.
Did they scale well with sort of new scale? the Death Watch kits? Because
Um,
I've not had any myself. Like,
they're about the size of the Mark 6 stuff, maybe a scooch bigger. Um,
right, but
they and
if
they
that's the case, then actually that's like, I don't mind like tiny differences in them. It's more
Mhm.
like Mark 4 next to Mark 6, and especially old like resin Mark 4 next to new Mark 6
Yeah,
just looks ridiculous. And I didn't think it would
yeah,
bother me this much, but until this month when I bought some, and, and then it was like, oh, this just doesn't work. Like,
yeah. So the other thing that might bug you is they're in Mark 8 armor.
I'm
So
not.
like they have the gyros on the feet.
Hmm.
Uh, other than and then they have like a little bit of additional hip plating. Uh, and then it's a little more like snubbed in the gorget. So
Hmm.
their helmet like is looks like a snub nosed Mark 7. But you can still usually fit a Mark 7 in there decently. But the you can always swap the chest out. So like you
Yeah.
could throw a Mark 4 chest on there. You could even or a Mark 3 chest or whatever else, like just a regular Mark 7, and you'd probably never notice it. It would probably just look like Mark 7 armor at that point with like some additional stabilizing gyros or something.
Yeah, like I'm not. I've. Do you know what? I started out really, really particular, and this is like years ago when I got into heresy. Like really particular on armor marks and everything had to be perfect, and then like over time, I think I've just mellowed on it needing to be like rivet perfect on everything.
Yeah,
Like
yeah. I feel you, man. Like I am and that's why I built that Raptor the way that I did. But to your point around the Mark 6, like they're just a touch out of scale, like oddly. Like, and maybe it's because the Raptor is kind of hunched over a little bit while he's walking, but the arms from the infiltrator that I put on him look like huge. Like he looks like he's got monkey arms almost.
mm,
Because he's walking sort of with his pistol like down. And maybe if his pistol was up in a firing position, you wouldn't notice it as much. But because his arms are down, it looks like his hands almost reach his knees.
and because it's directly comparable to the leg length rather than up
Yeah,
and like not
exactly.
as comparable. Yeah,
Yeah,
I get
yeah,
that.
100%. Because I've got that, like when they did the little Raven Guard versus Tau release, I've got that
Yes.
guy, and I made my Alvarix Mon out of him,
Mm-hmm.
and I've got like the Primaris big like wrist mounted whatever,
Yeah, yeah,
and then
yeah.
I've got him pointing with a Primaris hand the other way, and then I've got his weapons just like in holsters and in sheaths on his waist,
Mm.
and it doesn't look remotely out of scale. Like it looks perfect.
Because your eyes are distracted by other things around the
Yeah, I think it
model.
just balances out a little bit, but like when with the arms that close to, and that I think is what cascaded into the helmet bugging me.
Yes.
Um, and Yeah, and then because the backpack still doesn't bug me. Like I used a Primaris backpack because it looks like a little chunkier, and I'm like, oh, like if they're going to be out on extended mission, they would want like they'd probably take chunked up like bigger battery packs, like bigger power packs, because they'd want to be able to last for longer without having
Yeah,
to like
yeah,
recharge or whatever. And so I was
before
like,
they
oh,
needed to
that
find a
actually doesn't
Tesla
bug me too.
supercharger out on mission. Like,
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Or they need to get the crank wheel out, or like
you
put a
don't want to
couple of
be doing
future
like the
hamsters.
wind up, like torch variety of power armor. You don't want
Yeah,
that. They
no,
take
no.
forever.
Yeah, exactly. Um, but yeah, so I don't know. I'm a bit torn because I still love the Raptors,
Hmm.
um, but also I'm kind of becoming more sympathetic to the secessionist cause. So I
It's
kind of want
only
to do that.
natural. It's one thing as we're young and idealistic, we start off on like the imperial side of these conflicts, and then as you mature, and this has been a very rapid maturing process for you in the past 2 months, that you've matured and come to appreciate different points of view, and just come over to
Yeah,
the fact that the secessionists are clearly in the right in the sundering in the Badab sector. I mean, it's the only logical point of view.
It's true. Yeah,
Inarguable.
I think they were largely misunderstood, at least in the beginning. Which again makes me think that maybe Lamenters are a little bit better, because then when it gets real witchy poo, it can be like, whoa, maybe I'm not as into this as I thought I was.
Yeah, well, I think the line that I'm going up to is when the Astral Claws take all of the Imperial Eagles off their armor. There's a point like above Badab Primus that
yeah.
they like notice, the Mantis warriors notice that the Astral Claws have taken it off their armor, and they're like, oh, I get what's happened here. We better start doing something else.
Shit.
Rot-row. Like we chose the wrong side of this.
Yeah, yikes, dude.
Yeah. So I'm with them all the way up until the point of taking the Imperial Eagles off the armor, and then no more.
Yeah.
Then no more. I'm out.
Yeah. Respect. Yeah. Respect it. But yeah, I mean, some of the other guys are still clocking right along. So if you want to check that out, make sure you jump over to Little Legend Studio.
Take a second to just go through some of the models that the other guys have been doing.
Okay.
So welcome back to the future.
Yeah.
the past. We're recording this in the past, but it's the future for what we just
read. The future past.
Exactly. Not confusing at all. So now we're going to get into the future history of the hashtag of Badab After Dark. And the first selection that I made for the Badab After Dark hashtag that came up, we just run through a couple of pages and picked basically anything that jumped out at us. So I picked Bila Kaifa and his Minotaur Marine in, what is it, Mark V Heresy armor, but with like its true scaled Heresy. I think it's a Primaris bolt gun even, but it is. Yeah. Blends in quite nicely, I think, with the scale. But I just really liked the use, like the red. I think it's like sponged or stippled on the shoulder pads. The style of crest with the Minotaur's chapter theme, and the decals from Mechanicum Decals. I think it all comes together really nicely on the model.
Yeah, that's where those are from. I knew I recognized them, but I was kind of like, what does he have on the shoulder pad?
Yeah.
Like, what are the lines? It's from the Skitarii transfer sheet.
Exactly.
Yeah, I love this piece. I was a little bit bummed when you were like, I'm taking this Minotaur, like right away, and I was like, like he did a great job adding just a little bit of patina, kind of here and there, just to modulate it a little bit. It's very textured. It's very grim. It's awesome. It looks like instead of ceramite, they decided to like mix some bronze into their armor and just run with that. Like, this would be so fast to paint and looks so good. I think it's fantastic.
Yeah. Well, one thing I think it's really nicely done, like subtly as well. There's not too much verdigris. Like, I've had a real arseache with my brass.
Yeah.
Getting far too much verdigris on there. It's far too blue. And this is just a nice little hint of it in the corners. So yeah, I picked this one. Really good.
Yeah. I know exactly what you mean. Like, it's that sort of like staining style that you get with a lot of like grimdark painters, like Grimdark Compendium, where it works really well on things like steels, where you're putting like a dark brown with maybe like a touch of rust color in it or something like that, and then you stain the whole thing and then back it off, and it doesn't always come out very well if you do that with like a copper or a bronze and the verdigris, like, and then it can kind of like overpower it a little bit too much. So good comment on the subtlety. Have you played with the Dirty Down verdigris stuff at all?
I've not yet. Do you know what? I tried some of the rust, like the basic rust from Dirty Down, and just couldn't get it to work properly for me. Like maybe I'm just far too
Yeah.
impatient to let it like bubble over time and stuff. But it just
Yeah.
didn't work that well for me.
I struggled with it the first time. I think I'm getting the handle on it now. So the one thing I didn't realize is you have to shake that thing like violently. Um, like it's that scene in Airplane where like Leslie Nielsen's like shaking the guy and like smacking him, like, come on, get it together. Like you have to do that with like with those bottles. Because same issue that I had actually with the Pro Acryl, I didn't realize there's a fucking shaker in there. And so you got to like rattle it until that thing dislodges. And then even then you kind of like got to get a stick in there and stir it up a little bit. But I found if you put it on and then, or what I'm going to do next time is add a little bit of water to it, like take some of it off, put it on a pallet, add a bit of water to it. This time I put it on because the first time I did it, I just put it on and like you, I had no real effect. And maybe it was that I didn't shake it enough and it's almost like gunkish on the bits that I put it on, but I've been putting it on basing things so that way I can hide it with powders until I get the hang of it. I'm not using it on real minis. And with the verdigris one, I had some strong success with, and it was like I painted the thing bronze, and then I covered it in that dirty brown verdigris, and then I like wet my brush and kind of like spackled just water onto it, and then kind of like went back and took some of it off after it dried, and I used like a hair dryer to dry it quickly.
Did you not
just
find
because
that
I
like
wasn't patient?
change the effect, or
It did. So one of them I left, and one of them I did the hair dryer. And the one that I did the hair dryer, you didn't get as much of the like bright verdigris in patches. Like I still got some of it in the recesses, but for the most part, I got like almost a more uniform green color if I used the hair dryer. But the water I think helped activate it. And then on some of the rust ones, like it was too gunked on. So when it was dry, I went back with water and just kind of like tried to pull some of it off. And then those spots where I pulled it off just the right amount, it like rusted really good.
right? Okay. Well, I might go back to
Yeah.
it then and give it a try because since I got a Vortex shaker,
Oh
so
yeah, that'll.
it might actually work for me. If the problem was that I wasn't like sort of giving it the old shake hard enough, it might just
Yeah,
help a little bit.
I know what you mean. Like, you know, I had to get up and kind of change my angle to a more familiar motion. Like, no, no, I just put it on the end of my Hitachi. No, I'm just kidding.
Right. But by Lakaifa, if you are watching this, if the master of verdigris by Lakaifa watches this, let me know how you do your verdigris in the comments, and then I might actually be able to up my game to this nice subtle one. Because I mean, Alex, I trust you but I don't trust my ability to use Dirty Down. People get
Yeah,
such fabulous effects from it, right?
100%.
It's just it's like the white ink that people use for shading now for the like the pre-shade. I just can't get it to work either.
Yeah.
Like these basic things, I just can't get to work.
So I don't use ink for that. I use like an artist series airbrush paint for the white, for the pre-shading. I use Medea Comart white. Madea. Medea Comart, Comart white. It's like it's not a model paint at all. It's super liquid, like it's very, very fine pigment. And I find it works just dynamite.
Right, well,
Like
I've just written that down to buy some. So maybe my Mantis Warriors will be trying out this Medea Comart White. You said, didn't you?
Yeah.
We
So
are not
I just put it through the
sponsored by
airbrush.
Dirty Down or Medea.
No, no, not.
If either of you want
But if
to
you'd like to
sponsor
get
the
in
show,
touch, yeah.
Exactly. So shall we
yeah.
move on to one of your picks?
Absolutely.
So
okay, so oh no, my app closed. Give me a second. There we go. So the next one is Cut File Scrape. This guy's a real executioner's enthusiast. His picture is the executioner's sigil on Instagram. And he's nailing the color scheme. It looks like, I can't tell if he did metal with like filters over it to build it up.
Well, it looks slightly like that, doesn't it? It looks like he's done something like a clear, or they've done a clear coat over a metal. He's got that nice sort of like pop to the highlight areas that you don't really get on a flat colour for the pre-shade. I'm so glad Miles isn't here so that we can talk about painting without him being like, well, I am the master.
Yeah, pretend like we're good. I guess I kind of have to be, or else he'll be upset with me. So I better get good quick. But yeah, it's tough to tell from the picture if it's a varnish or if he put a filter over it, or if he's like big on pro acryl. I know that I had bought the what's it called? Like the whole metal set, and in it came metal medium.
Right, okay.
Which, like, if you mix with inks, you can create basically any color metal paint that you want. Right. And I haven't actually but he also could have just filtered contrast paints over top of this, and maybe he didn't use an airbrush at all. Like maybe he just used contrast paints and wet blend.
Well, do you know what? Again, let us know if you're watching in the comments, because like, I'm not even just saying this. Even if you don't want to boost the comments, just send me a private message so that I can try it out for my Mantis Warriors. I've got all the color palettes here, and I didn't do one which was.
I like that first one in your hand.
So it's a toss up between, where's the camera? There, between these two at the moment, but they may be just lack. I'm erring towards this.
I like that one.
Yeah, which is funnily enough,
got more depth.
It's the Games Workshop Mantis Warriors green. So it's
well, that's a contrast paint, right?
Yeah. So that's contrast paint over a pre-shade.
Yeah.
But it might be worth trying that, like with sort of a metallic base, to give a nice little pop to it.
Yeah. But that's actually not like the main reason why I picked this one. I picked this one because it looks like he's dancing.
Maybe he's just really into beheading like 178 of the Tyrant's Legion.
Yeah. He's just, he's on cloud 9 right now. He's walking on sunshine and like tyrant corpses.
Exactly.
Okay, moving over to your next pick.
Yeah, we have another Executioner, actually, and this is just in a randomized order. We have Khan's Hobby Hive with basically just a really nice modelled Executioner with, obviously, Executioner axe customised with a nice grip. We've got chainmail round the underside of the shoulder pauldron, which is, it's not something you see often on regular Marines, but I thought it was a nice touch that it had the, what's it called that they have hanging down on the
turges?
Is that what it's got, a turge? Yeah, turges then underneath the shoulder pad, and the sort of like salamandersy almost face.
Yeah. Well, at first look, I thought it was a salamander. But the more I look at this, the more I don't think he used like a stamp pad for this green stuff. Like there's a stamp pad for chainmail. This looks like he just sculpted the chainmail himself.
Yeah.
Like, wow, dude. More patience than I've got, and flawless execution.
Yeah, and
no pun intended.
That's why I picked it. Like I thought it was really nicely done. Like the bulking up of the chest piece as well, like looks a lot more archaic. And it just really nicely fits the setting and that archaic look to it.
It does, and I think that's where this project like really lends itself to, is like if you want to get crazy like that, then you can get it and do it in such a way that you can have 8 to 10 bespoke Marines that look just awesome. Like if you want to really get involved with this from like an artistic point of view, I think I think that's where the option is. And once I get back to working on it, yeah, I'm going to be in that same boat. Like, I'm not going to have the full 1,500 points done for Adepticon for us to like throw down anything big, but I'll be ready for Kill Team for sure, which is okay because I love Kill Team. Quick aside though, I might have a line on like the old Warhammer World like Vengeful Spirit rules for Necromunda.
I've got the PDF version on my computer.
Do you?
Saved.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh shit. Okay. Yeah. All right. I need you to send me that.
I'm playing it at the end of the month, like for a Badab Kill Team event, because none of us in my area have ever played Kill Team before, so we've no idea how to play it. And we just finished, like this last weekend, we just played a load of Necromunda, played a campaign in the weekend, and we was like, well, we know we were at that, like, some of them were at that weekender, so had the book. So we were like, well, we know how to play Necromunda. Let's just play Necromunda with Marine rules.
Hell yeah. Okay, great. So I'm glad we're on the same page. Because that'll be much easier to make a Terminator than me trying to like adapt friggin' Kill Team rules, which don't have rules for Terminators right now.
Right, cool. Yeah, I'm good with that.
Yeah, cool. All right, that's the new move. Send me that PDF.
It is decided.
Yeah, it is decided. I love it. Okay, moving on. So we're actually back to the first guy. I didn't realize that until just now. But this is also from La Kaifa. And he did speaking of Terminators, Salamander Librarian Terminator. And damn if this dude didn't kill it. Like, again, I mean, his modeling's top grade. I don't know if he 3D printed or did what to create this, or if he just cut it up and made it himself and green stuffed it. He didn't have any whip pictures up. But he's got a psychic hood on a Cataphractii Terminator chest piece. He's got like a little scroll work coming down on the side. He's got a bespoke sword, and the paint job on the sword is what pulled me to it first. And on the leg, where it's got kind of like the planet cracking apart. This guy's nailing it. Like, we should see if we can just even get this guy on for like an episode and be like, what else have you done? Show us the way. Like, be our Sherpa.
Let's do a 45-minute segment of just like, oh, wow. Tell us how you molded this. Tell us how you sculpted that. Yeah.
Regale us.
Bring us into your majesty.
Yeah. Teach us, Sensei. Green stuff on, green stuff off.
Exactly. But there's not much I can add to that. Like the details on it, I really like the skull on the chest piece, the flat plate, like I don't know what else to call it, the dick plate, or I know it's like the belt buckle, but really it's like a dick plate and dick chain.
I just call it a belt buckle, but also like
that doesn't do it.
We for sure should get this guy, because Badab After Dark as a hashtag didn't exist before we started it. So this guy is clearly looking at us in some way, shape, or form, either online or through Miles or through you or maybe even me.
I didn't even think of that.
Yeah, like all of these people that were like, oh my god, these guys are so good. Like, they're all using the hashtag that we made specifically for this. So they should be able to reach out and tell us how to do it right, including cut, file, and scrape. Which,
and Adobe Lightroom.
And Adobe Lightroom, yeah.
The viewers can now see. That's always useful. So on to the next one. We have Brother Chiron, Sons of Medusa, Atropos War Clan, marked by the chapter Ferrum, Siege Assault Squad. So we've got, this is cut, file, and scrape again. We didn't actually coordinate at all on who we were picking. We've just picked random, just basically random things, whatever caught our eye. And yeah, it's our second repeat of the show, and we've not even been doing it that long.
No.
I just really liked sort of I like useless looking models. Was what drew me
Me
to
too.
this. Was that he's just like some bloke that's hacking into a computer. He's like the lead hacker of the Sons of Medusa. Fits in with
Yeah.
the Iron Hands like background of the army. It's a nice Tortuga Bay
Mhm.
body. The usage of what's that on? Is that a Primaris hand as well for the right hand that has
Yes, I
the
believe it is.
computer
Yeah.
terminal thing? Yeah, like
Yeah.
I just think it's just a fun, interesting model to have thrown in there.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that's a Death Watch backpack as well. But yeah, excellent use of bits. Tortuga Bay. I think I got to upscale. Like almost all these guys have upscaled stuff. I can't be showing up with my like weird monkey man raptors. Like, yeah, I got to go back to the drawing board, do something good. Plus, I actually think I'm going to do mentors. Like, I think I'm switching sides. I'm coming over to yours. Like,
Yes,
you guys are right.
they all get
Like,
there in the end.
Imperium's wrong. And then like we'll kind of give each other like the side eye, like when hey, wait, they took their eagles off, and be like, whoa, dude, are we the baddies?
like like the Mitchell and Webb sketch. Like,
Yeah.
Hans, are we the bad guys?
Yeah.
So moving on, we've got a new person. It's Scripter
Yeah, we
Peter.
do. Scripter.Peter. This guy has a brutal looking Carcharodon. And man, he went to the wall with the details. Like tons of markings, upscaled, the glow on the eyes, like this guy killed it. He did a good job with it.
Yeah, and the like sort of tribal markings on there. I think he's done really well. Like the
Yeah.
like the touch of the knife, like behind, like where it's stored on the back.
Yeah.
Like it's just a nice little touch to have on the model. Adds that bit more character to it.
Yeah, it does. He nailed it. I really enjoy this guy, and I mean they're Ravengard's successor, so I've always got a soft spot for them.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. The next one looks like a 3D model.
Yes.
From at 30K Forge. It looks like this guy drew it up, but he's got a Tyrant of Badab that is pulling that left trigger with due prejudice.
Yeah,
it looks good.
It's one that I really liked on there. It just like obviously just stood out, like being a 3D model, it's different than all the other ones, but just a reimagining of the Lufthuron model. That like he's a bit puny now. That the old Lufthuron model is a really nice model, but it needs upscaling. And this stood out to me actually mainly for the claw. I was like, a source of claws, like a source of that tyrant's claws. Oh my god! And yeah, I just like how the entire thing's put together, really.
Yeah, for me, it's the banner. It makes it look like it's more late war Huron than early war, which is nice, right? Because I mean, we have sort of the model that we have of Huron is like opening sort of issue. Yeah. So he's still very early. He's got lots of like eagles. He's got lots of, filigree and stuff on him. He doesn't have a back banner. I don't think he has a back banner, does he? Maybe his old model does. I can't remember now.
Maybe.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not going to look it up.
I'm going to pull it up. I'll chance opening my my screen and showing everyone my suggested searches.
Oh, jeez.
No.
Yeah. What's this thing on the side?
he does. He has like an average back banner that he's got a bit more. He's got like an astral claws hand at the top of it.
Yeah, it's tattered. It's got chains on this new one. Like, yeah, it does still. It's bigger. Okay, let's do it.
So, on to the next one. We have Space Hulk's Nova Marine.
Spaced Hulk.
Spaced Hulks, yeah.
Yeah, spaced. Yeah, this again. I mean, he's true scaled it. I'm not sure if this is a Tortuga Bay body or not, or if it's a 3D printed one. Let us know in the comments, man. Like if it's 3D printed, I need that STL. Because it's nice. It's varied, and it gives me something that's similar but a little bit different to Wilf's.
Yeah. We just
so
anything to get more variety into it.
Yeah, that's exactly it. Like, you know, and that's kind of the other reason I think I'm going to switch to Lamenters or Red Scorpions, because I can get away with more varied marks of armor. Like there's probably not a lot of Raptors like skulking around in Mark III iron pattern, but they might hand like the heavy bolter to the guy in Mark III armor to like a Lamenter, or they might have just whatever, some tactical idiot or some assault marine idiot like in Mark II on the Lamenter side. Whereas the Raptors, I mean, they already didn't have a lot. All the Raven Guard successor chapters, except for maybe the Carcharodons, which are a little more ancient. Like all of their sort of mid heresy armor sets got friggin' trounced at Istvan. So the bulk of what they would have would be Mark 5, 6, and 7.
Yeah.
They wouldn't have a lot of the heavier, older armor marks that some of the older
cooler legions.
Yeah, or chapters, I guess.
Well, chapters now, yeah. But
yeah, chapters now, but from the more survived legions for sure, or offshoots. But yeah, this guy, I like his lines are so crisp, which is what drew me to this one.
Of the highlighting,
like it's weathered. Well, not just the highlighting, but like where he split it. Like
yes.
That's not easy splitting it on Marines, and I have no envy for the dudes that are doing those armies, like Dan and Rob. Like, I mean, Howling Griffin's like, yeah, it's cool, but why do you hate yourself?
Like extreme sadomasochism. I can't say that word. Why did I choose to say that word?
I don't know.
But, and one thing that this flagged up to me is with that Tortuga Bay body or 3D printed body, Mark 7 heads, they are a rarity now. So I am fully with like you sort of need to. Games Workshop still produces like the crispest heads, right? Like for most things. So sticking one on a 3D print, I think it comes together nicely. But I can't anywhere for the life of me find Mark 7 heads. Like just all the bit sites are sold out, and he's like, yeah, I could get like random marine arm holding bolter, but the heads, man, they've all gone. It seems everyone's doing Badab with true scale bodies.
Well, see, and so that's actually, and it's a good transition over to the next guy is Lamenters. But that's part of the reason I want to do the Lamenters is I have one or two like old Blood Angel tactical marine sets that I bought for like other conversion pieces on it for Heresy. So I have like all these Mark 7 helmets. I put some of them on my Heresy guys just because they're more like Siege of Terra themed, and I like the aggressive faceplate. But I still have some Death Company heads. I still have some like regular Mark 7s. I have some like Devastator kit ones. I guess it could work in there. But yeah, they're the way of the dodo. I don't think they're available like at all anymore, are they? Like from GW, do they have any of the Firstborn stuff anymore?
Yes, I was actually, or at least like I was looking in Element Games the other day, and a few like, where is it? The War Office that are just nearby. They do make the kit still, but it's like Command Squad is quite expensive for 5 heads that you get. And like
we get more than 5 heads, you just get 5 bodies.
A couple of them are like you've got the sort of like the Mark III head that isn't Mark III, if you know what I mean.
The champion head?
Champion, yeah. And the apothecary head that's just like it's not a normal Mark 7. So there's stuff like that. Or like the Vanguard Assault Squad, is it? Not the Stern Guard, the other one, the Vanguard Assault Squad.
Yeah.
There's
the jump ones, yeah.
So there's a couple of sources. I think the Devastators might still be around, tactical squads even, but I don't really want to buy what I'm saying is a full Space Marine kit just for those fucking heads.
Speaking of lamenters, this psycho, primordial painter, looks like he free-handed the entire lamenter's shoulder pad. And he did it on one of the Space Marine heroes, and I'm pretty sure that shoulder pad like is not separate. I think that's part of the arm.
Yeah,
So
I've got that same one, and it's part of it, I'm sure.
yeah.
So,
Yeah, I think so. I think I've got that one downstairs too, and I'm probably going to end up using it because I was looking up Lamenter's art yesterday, and there's like, a good one of like a group of Marines, and one of them's kind of like walking with the gun up like that. So I might throw that on like the Mark IV, like Wilf's walking Mark IV guy. That could look pretty rad. Like he's just slowly walking forward, just sights down, pop, pop.
Yeah, like sort of the calm before the storm moment with it just ready. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, exactly. It's the yellow on this that pulled me in though. Like he's got kind of like the greenish undertones to it. It's not that sort of like hot, sort of aggressive yellow that you get usually with like Imperial Fists. And so it's a different yellow that we don't see a lot of, and I think that's what largely pulled me into jumping in this one. And then his basing's pretty good too.
Yeah, so it's like a cool yellow, isn't it, rather than
a
warm one that I think Miles has maybe said before that he prefers that for his Lamenters. And yeah, it just looks really nice. I think it's put together quite nicely. It's the circle. Do you know we was talking about the circle on the Lamenter's shoulder pads as well? The circle is actually really circular, which is
I can't imagine how much time that took. Like, did he varnish it first and then draw the circle so that he could go back and fix it afterwards? Or did he draw the circle first and then draw the checkers on after that? I don't know. Did he maybe just take like a bingo dabber and just roll it on there? Or did you do like my insane idea of like just put like the loose leaf reinforcer rings on it and then airbrush it?
Yeah, but again, let us know and everyone else in the comments if you were watching. And shall we go
this guy?
Yeah, shall we go on to the Iron Within? A strong name, I've got to say. Like it.
Yep.
And we've got Executioners.
He's got that loyalist guy though, so how much do you really like it?
Well, yeah, true. But still, he's only sort of loyalist, He's only loyalist because he got attacked by traitors. But
yeah, all right, okay.
I give Curvalen a pass. It's Dantioch that I don't give a pass.
Yeah. Yeah, that's fair. Now, I mean, this guy, he's already ready for it.
Well, it's got some nice muted tones on the yellows. It's like sort of the opposite of the last one in that these are like a darkened down, much grittier and grimmer. So like opposing the Lamenters, which is very, very bright. And I just think it fits
and again, he went with a metallic.
Yeah. What, on the armor choice?
Yeah, so that's actually what pulled me into it. Yeah.
It looks really nice, and I think it goes really well. I think some of the modelling choices are really nice in there. Like is that a Space Wolf body on the Terminator on the right, which has got that head then built in with a beard? Is that one of the Space Wolf Terminator kits?
Yeah. I think it is. I think it's one of the like Forge World Space Wolf old upgrade chest bits. That's a good thought. It's a good thought on that one. Again, mostly Mark V's. Actually, look at that. He used the same main Primaris champion or whatever to make what looks like his kill team leader. And he's carrying like a head, and he's got, I think that's.
Yeah. Is it the same one, or has Games Workshop just mirrored it in their base model?
No, that's the same one for sure. But yeah. Like those two are actually, I didn't even notice that one the first time, but the composition is very similar, like Mark V heads, bonding studs on the greaves.
Well, I think they go together really nice. Like Mark V is one of my favorite armor marks. I think it suits a lot of the time periods really well, and it gives the like archaic look, especially to Badab, when like as we were talking in the first episode about how it's like sort of Byzantine Roman rather than Roman, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Of like Roman of the Crusade, and then there's like Byzantine Roman. It gives that sort of feel, and like, is it late antiquity at that time? But I don't know. I'm guessing at words, but it gives me that that feel that Mark V does, and I think is a nice choice for it.
Yeah. I can't tell you. I don't know that much about history. I'm just some idiot from the colonies. I have a degree in marketing. But yeah, that one, I think it was sort of the best for last. So good pick on that one. But this guy, he's already ready for Adepticon. He's already ready for Badab After Dark. He doesn't have to stress about it like the rest of us plebs who have poor time management skills.
Yeah, the rest of us fucking idiots.
Yeah.
Well, it was August. I think it was August. Yeah.
It was August. Yeah. I threw you off because I was like, it was July, and somebody was like, dude, it's like the end of August, and I'm like, oh, yeah.
Ruh-roh.
Yes, it is, isn't it?
So yeah, other than getting shown up by other people doing the hashtag, I think that might be us done.
I think so. I've got to finish the custodians I'm working on, and I got to do the Darren Latham mini by friggin' my birthday. And then I'm gonna do a Lamenter, I think. Yeah, it's
beginning the endless cycle of trials of a new Badab army.
Yeah, it really is. I don't know. I mean, it's funny because I looked at it and I was like, well, maybe we should be Red Scorpions, but Chris Purdy's doing Red Scorpions.
Right. Okay.
So he's gonna come with Red Scorpions. So, and then I was like, oh, no one's Tyrant Legion, but I'm sure somebody is. So I'm not worried. I'm not too worried about it. But also I don't want to be Tyrant's Legion because I don't want to fall to chaos. I just want
do you mean
specifically
Tyrant's Legion, or do you mean Astral Claws in general?
Well, Astral Claws. I don't know if one of your dudes coming over is bringing Astral Claws or not.
I'm sure JP will just fill in with Tyrant's Legion because he'll have enough bodies.
Okay. Yeah. That's fair. I'll twist his arm next weekend. I'll be like, hey, Tyrant's Legion, do you like a couple? Or pay me to do a couple. And then just bring your Vostroyans. Or not his Vostroyans.
Valhallans,
Valhallans. Yeah, Vostroyans are cooler. But yeah, Valhallans are okay.
Whoa. I also have Valhallans. Well, me and JP both play Iron Warriors and Valhallans, so you're not going to win on that one.
That's right. Okay.
Before we devolve into too many arguments about Vostroyans versus Valhallans.
Yeah, let's put a pin on it.
Yeah. So thank you everyone for watching. Oh, you do this, Alex. This is your channel.
You're right. So thanks a lot. Thanks for coming in. Make sure you check out Barefoot Minis and Little Legend Studio on YouTube. There'll be things you would have been able to click them earlier, but you'll be able to click them again. and make sure you head on over to Epic Basing so that way you can get some juicy plants or some dusty rubble to get on your bases and help actually illustrate and frame your models so that they don't come out looking like my oh my god, not Astral Claws, my Ashen Claws, which are really cool looking bespoke models which have really super boring stupid bases. Yeah. They're completely plain.
If you want to be featured on one of these hobby segments, don't forget to use the Badab After Dark hashtag.
Yeah,
and do you remember the tagline? Big brushes never tire.
Big brushes never tire. Yeah, shit.
And we'll catch everyone next time.
This must be what it feels like to go back to school.